Good morning. I will call the September 7th, 2021 City Council meeting to order and ask Councilman Cisco if he leads our invocation and pledge. If you would, please stand.
Stand there, please. Our dear Heavenly Father, we thank you this day, and we thank you for the many blessings that you give us each day, especially the blessing of life. We ask you to be with our country and our state and our city. Help us with the ordeals that's going on. And just ask you for peace, dear Lord. Just be with us and help us, Lord. Lord, help the people in the states that have had problems with catastrophes, floods, and so forth. Just ask that you comfort and help them. Lord, also we ask you today to be with this council and mayor as we make decisions that affect our city. Give us wisdom and knowledge, Father. And Lord, always bless us and keep this in a manner where we're always peaceful, Lord. All these things we ask in the Lord Christ's name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Item 3 is roll call, and Sandy, you'll see that all council members present, with the exception of Council Member Buchanan and Brooks. No proclamations. Item 6, invitation for public comment. Anyone wishing to speak in any item under first reading be recognized at that time. They wish to speak in favor of or opposition to. First reading, item 1. Consideration of an ordinance to amend the text of the official zoning ordinance of the City of Jackson, Tennessee to eliminate minimum parking requirements.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
Good morning.
You have in your packet the materials pertinent to this text amendment. We are working on various changes to our zoning ordinance to try to make it more applicable to the situations we're facing today. Given the changing landscape of retail and commercial development, it's getting harder and harder to do things in a traditional way, and you have to look at non-traditional ways to make things happen. And so this is the first of other amendments that will come before you dealing with retail and uses within the City of Jackson. This text amendment involves doing away with minimum parking requirements. I know that's scary to some. We're not really doing away with parking requirements. We're not going to be telling people what their minimums should be. The whole section that said if you have a specific use and you've got to have this many parking spaces we've basically done away with that, and it's been replaced by one paragraph. And it's amazing that we can take 3 or 4 pages of stuff and reduce it down to a paragraph, but basically it says that off-street parking shall be provided to meet the demand of the proposed land use. Most of the time when we're dealing with a use, they already know based on their business model what parking they need. Very seldom do we mandate something that they don't already provide. So this just basically says that, you know, they're required to meet whatever parking is needed to satisfy the demand of their business. The applicant shall calculate this demand based on accepted standards, and we've got a few reports in there that are standards that they can use, or they can use the prototype or the experience that they've had. Like Chick-fil-A has done a whole lot of developments across the United States, and so they're very aware of their demand and their generation, and they do generate a lot of traffic. That's why they have 54 queuing spaces in their drive-through. So they know their business model much better than we do. So where are we to be telling them exactly what they need to provide? So this basically says if you can provide evidence and you can provide a methodology on how you arrived at what you need, then we're fine with that. But if somebody comes in and they have 60,000 square foot building and they want 2 parking spaces, we're not going to allow that. We know that that doesn't make sense, and we know that that's not adequate. So it also goes into some discussion about shared parking, because we do have uses that operate at different times and they can share parking spaces for those uses. But again, we're not doing away with minimums. There'll still be parking required for every business, but we just won't be dictating what that is. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions from council? All right, this is an item on first reading. so anyone wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to can be recognized at this time. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 6-0, one abstain. I'm sorry, 6-1.
All right, item 2 is consideration of an ordinance to rezone property located at 1984 South Highland Avenue from RG1 General Residential District to B5 Highway Business District comprising of .31 acres, more or less.
You have the materials pertinent to this rezoning request in your packet. If you look at the map, you can see that traditionally, when zoning was put in place years ago, when they were dealing with a highway, they would just basically set a distance so many feet off the right-of-way, and that would be how they would establish their commercial corridor. This is one of those examples where Chester Levy comes into South Highland, where the line was just dictated by so many feet off the highway, but basically the property extended past that, so they're going to be establishing an Arby's on this side, and that triangle piece that you see highlighted in your packet is an area that was still zoned residential. So they are basically asking for a rezoning to consolidate the property all under the commercial class so that they can fully develop the site, and the Planning Commission did recommend it to you.
All right, any questions from council? This is an item on first reading, so I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to can be recognized. Seeing none, close the public hearing. Any further discussion from council? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
All right, item 3 is consideration of an ordinance to rezone property located at 1932 Hollywood Drive from RS Single Family Residential District to I-2 Light Industrial District comprising of 10.5 acres, more or less.
Again, you have the materials pertinent to this rezoning request in your packet. This was presented to the Planning Commission, and they have recommended it to you. It is an area that's adjacent to an existing I-2 district, so it's considered a logical extension of that zone, and again, the Planning Commission has recommended it to you.
Any questions from council? All right, this is an item on first reading. Open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion second? Doesn't matter. I have a motion by Cisco, second by McKelvey. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
All right, item 4 is consideration of an ordinance to close and abandon Vanden Street.
Vanden Street this portion of Vanden Street is passing through an area that's part of our Jackson Walk redevelopment area. It's an area that's going to be devoted to a new construction of residential dwellings soon. We have been working on a development plan. The development plan is a consolidated development plan that has houses clustered around an entrance. And so the aspect of a street going down the middle of that really doesn't help you with making that happen. So they're asking to close this section of Vanden, and the Planning Commission did recommend it to you.
All right, any questions from council?
We closed Clay Street previously, correct?
Yes, we did.
That stub. Does the development plan show any access from McCowan to Talbot?
I can tell you just a second. The development plan that we see does have an access onto McCowan and to Talbot also.
Okay.
It's just basically they're reorienting things and basically where the houses are set and some of the ways that they'll be developing the right-of-way of Vanden would pass in an area which they cannot utilize, so.
So there will be cross-access across those?
There would be. It'd just be in different areas.
Okay.
All right, any additional questions? This is an item on first reading, so open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to? Seeing none, close the public hearing. And do I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
All right, thanks, Dave. Item 5, consideration of a proposed budget amendment for insurance recovery for the fairgrounds in the amount of $13,500.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of, opposition to? Seeing none, close the public hearing. And got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
All right, item 6, consideration of proposed budget amendment for insurance recovery for groundskeeping, the amount of $93,530.
So moved.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Any further discussion?
Do we have any leads on where this particular equipment has ended up? Do we know anything about that?
I don't think so. That'd be a JPD question.
Okay. I'll reserve that for the
All right.
other time.
All right, council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Item 7 is consideration of a proposed budget amendment for JAG grant for JPD in the amount of $79,538.
So
So
moved.
move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. This is an item on first reading, so open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Item 8 is a consideration of a proposed budget amendment for PSN Grant for JPD in the amount of $36,448.
So moved.
Have a
Second.
motion and a second. Open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
All right. Item 9, council, we're going to combine item 9 and 10, so it'd be a consideration of proposed budget amendment in the amount of $160,000 for the Consumer Financial Protection Initiative grant and for the Financial Empowerment Center Implementation Grant. Instead of two different amendments or one amendment together.
So moved.
I
Second.
have a motion and a second. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
All right, item 11, 10, 11, whatever. Consideration of a proposed budget amendment for Jackson Fire Department compensation.
So
in the
moved.
amount of $69,478.93. And we have a
I
motion.
knew you were gonna do
Have a
that.
second. I'll open, Councilman Dodd. I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to can be recognized. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
All right, thank you, Bobby. All right, item 12, let them make their presentation. Consideration of proposed budget amendments for Trash for Cash program in the amount of $25,000. And I would have the Mayor's Youth Council representatives, if you could each identify yourself, and then the floor is yours.
Good morning. My name is Blessy Garcia.
I'm Sanaa Davis.
I'm Allison Thompson,
Alex Reed.
and we're representing Mayor's Youth Council. We're here to present a project known as Trash for Cash. Its mission is to promote public environmental awareness by encouraging nonprofit organizations, which includes schools, churches, and other community organization groups to help reduce and recycle litter in our city. How it works is for every group that get accepted into the program, they'll receive $100 for every mile that they do. The group that is assigned will be responsible for all liability waivers before the cleanup date, and the city will also provide the necessary tools needed for all the cleanup.
So basically, any nonprofit group or school clubs, basically, a group can raise money for a nonprofit or for their own need, like a school club, and they sign up, they fill out a tax form, and as long as they have one person over 18 per 4 students, and they meet all the requirements, they can be part of this program and pick up a mile of trash for money.
The group must be located in Jackson, Tennessee, and must be the volunteers must be 11 years or older. and have a group leader that is 18 or older and complete the application provided in a recent W-9 tax form.
All right, any questions for the youth council on their proposal for Trash for Cash?
We thank you all for doing this.
Thank you.
We have 2 more members of the youth council. If y'all please stand and the council can see you. All right, so this is a budget amendment from our solid waste fund, and any additional questions from council? All right, this is an item on first reading, so anyone wishing to speak in favor of or opposition to be recognized. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. And do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you. Thank
good job. All right, move on to second reading. Item 1 is consideration of proposed annexation and zoning for the area referred to as Bible, submitted by Shane Alexander, comprising of 102.33 acres more or less, located at the southwest quadrant of US Highway 45 North and Ashport Road. The proposed zoning for this area is B5 Highway Business District for Area 1, RG2 General Residential for District Area
moved.
2, okay. And then single family for Area 3. Got a motion?
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Just one bit of information just for you that may not be familiar with annexation, because we don't do it very often these days. There is a 30-day waiting period required by law, so once y'all have passed on second reading, 30 days will pass, and then it will become effective, and we send the information out to all the entities to make sure that they're aware when it goes into effect.
All right, thanks, Stan. Item 2 is consideration of a resolution to limit truck traffic on East Main Street from North Royal to Highway 70 bypass. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
All right, item 3 is consideration of proposed budget amendment for drug court grant in the amount of $70,000.
So moved.
Have a motion? Council- Second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Item 4 is consideration of proposed budget amendment for gang prosecutor in the amount of $88,590.26.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Item 5 is consideration of proposed budget amendment for the repair of the Riverside Cemetery brick wall in the amount of $96,000.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Right, in new business, item 1 is consideration of a resolution to approve the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, 2020-2021.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we are required to submit to HUD after the close of our program year, which was June 30th, the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, which basically outlines our accomplishments for the year. Part of that process is a 15-day public review period. We held a public meeting. We also presented the report to the Jackson Housing Authorities Board for their approval, and our next step is presenting to City Council for approval prior to submitting to HUD. So for the year, we committed and budgeted a total of $1,309,705 in Community Development Block Grant, Home Grant, and Community Development Block Grant CARES Act funds. We expended a total of $861,184. Our action plan goals, which also are 5-year goals, were to improve quantity and quality of affordable housing, provide expanded economic opportunities, provide a suitable living environment, and expand the capacity of homeless providers. So with that $800,000 that we expended, 21% went to housing, which is our minor repair programs, and funding to our community housing Community Housing Development Organizations, which is Jonah Affordable Housing and Southwest CDC for acquisition and renovation of homes, and to JSEAL for wheelchair ramp installations. We expended 28% or $240,000 on the Section 108 loan repayment. Public services, we expended a total of 10%. On the CBDO, which is the Boys and Girls Club Public Services, we expended a total of 6% of funds. On the CARES Act funds, we expended 20% or approximately $170,000. And with that monies, we provided broadband service to about 712 Jackson-Madison County school system students, low-income students, and provided about 26 people, I believe it was, yes, with utility and rent assistance. And again, I say that our main focus when we first received the funds was rent and utility assistance, but there was a influx of other funding for that, so we're looking at other things to do with that. 100,000 of that is going to the homeless shelter that we have remaining. Planning and administration, we expended 14%. So the total individuals and families we were able to serve through public services was 2,194, and we provided rehab or accessibility modifications to 16 housing units. So are there any questions on the CAPER?
So, just to make sure I'm tracking with you, committed and budgeted 1.3 million at the top,
Yes,
and then we expended 861,000. You mentioned briefly that you have 100,000 going towards the homeless shelter.
yes.
So, what are we looking at for the other 350,000?
The new funds, or are you talking about just?
You said you budgeted 1.3 million and you
Oh,
spent.
you're talking about the total of all three grants?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for the CDBG, I don't think there was much remaining in that. And the home funds, we can carry those forward to the next year
Okay,
to continue our housing activities. CDBG public service funds cannot be carried over. They'll just be reprogrammed into something else. But like I said, there was about 500 and some thousand total
okay,
CDBG funds expended. So they'll just be reprogrammed possibly into our rehab program for the next year. And again, the CARES Act funds, that 100,000 that's left is going to the shelter.
okay.
All right, any additional questions? Is there a motion to approve the report?
So moved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
All right, thank you. Item 2 is consideration of a street acceptance request for Habitat Meadows Phase 1, Section 2. And do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Item 3 is consideration of a street acceptance request for Casey Commons, Section 1.
So move.
There's a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Item 4, consideration of a consulting contract with Taylor and Sons of Tennessee, LC for risk management.
So moved.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Item 5 is consideration of a contract for street resurfacing.
Yes, we received bids and we received 2 back. One was from Delta Contracting and the other was from Ford Construction Company. Delta Contracting was the lowest and best bid received. And if you approve this today, we'll have a pre-construction meeting, and then we'll receive their bonds, their performance bonds, material and labor bonds, and they will start work within 2 weeks.
Hey, any
Move to
questions?
approve.
Have a motion
Second,
and a second. Any further discussion?
I'd just like to remind Mr. Wolf to bring us a monthly report on his progress.
Yes, sir.
I'll be sure to remind him, he took an annual day today.
Sure.
All right, any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Item 6 is a consideration of a contract for the operator of the men's homeless shelter.
Proposals were received for this project, and we had an evaluation team consisting of Kane Reeves, Lauren Kirk, Richard Barber, Ross Pretty, Ariel McGahee, Latoya Fashion, and Vicky Lake, and they submitted the evaluation forms. And THS, Tennessee Homeless Solutions, was the only proposal we received. We sent them out to the Dream Center, the Care Center, Salvation Army, Aspel Manor, Jacoa, and Area Relief Ministries. And Lauren's here to answer any questions you may have concerning this project.
All right, any questions on the contract for the operator of the homeless shelter?
I would just comment
Go ahead.
that, just being on the panel, we did get one proposal, but Tennessee Homeless Solutions, based off what they proposed, does seem to be in good position to help us with this. One thing I would comment on, and Lauren knows this, and we've said this over and over, but just with our past history with buildings, let's make sure we continue to do our due diligence there and do it the right way, because we want to make sure we get that fit that benefits who we're going to serve, but also is a good decision for us, so.
The only request I would have is if the council could be provided with what's referred to as Section 5, the cost and pro forma breakdown for this as we move forward. I know we have them taking care of this now, but we need to make sure that we have that in the back of our mind as we proceed.
All right, any additional questions? All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
All right. Item 7 is consideration of a contract with Tyler Munis for software and financial system.
Our IT director, Brian Taylor, is the only one that can talk about this.
It's very top secret. No, this will be a wholesale replacement of our current financial software, which is 2 decades old. We've greatly outgrown it. It causes a lot of duplication of efforts across all city departments. We've worked on this for over a year, worked very closely with Bobby. We've done demos. And across stakeholders in each department, Tyler Munis Technologies was the overwhelming favorite. They have a lot of experience here in Tennessee. They have the city of Memphis, city of Murfreesboro, Bartlett, Germantown, Clarksville. And we feel like it's going to positively impact every department across the city, make us more efficient, and make it a lot easier for us to be transparent with our spending and reports and things of that nature.
All right, any questions from council?
I'd happily move on this.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
All right. All the departments, thank you, council, for your vote on that. Item 8 is a consideration of a recommendation from the Budget Committee to pursue a citywide staffing and salary study. Councilman Taylor?
Yeah, so as we approved earlier in this meeting, some pay raises for our Jackson Fire Department. We'll also potentially have some considerations for some police compression in the patrol division. But as an approach moving forward, the Budget Committee has recommended that we pursue a salary and staffing study across the city as a whole to make sure that we're adequately paying our employees and that we're adequately staffing our departments. This is part of a 3-tier program. One is more of an immediate need. This would be kind of our interim need. And then long-term, the hope is that we continue to have these studies on a 2 to 3 year basis to make sure that we're keeping up with municipalities and with competition locally. So that's the recommendation from the Budget Committee. I'm hopeful that, I believe the mayor's reached out to MTAS, and we've been provided with some consultants to help us through this.
So council, just before we do this, the goal is that if you consider, pass this resolution today, a recommendation that we'll submit an RFP out for salary study for the hope that we can get everything done, implemented, and prepared for FY23 budget for the rest of our departments. So just to give you an update on the time frame that we're looking at. So Councilman Taylor, is that a motion?
I'll move on that.
Okay.
Mayor,
Uh-huh.
what actually is this? I mean, are they trying to get comparable salaries with the police or what?
we're trying to get comparable salaries and staffing to other
They're two
municipalities.
different type jobs. I don't understand.
Now, this is for a complete citywide staffing that we're looking
Okay.
at to make
Okay.
sure that
All right.
we're competitive with other municipalities and we can hire the best and brightest to
Okay.
serve our municipality.
I'll second the motion.
Have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
All right, item 9 is a Budget and Audit Committee Annual Report.
Yes, thank you, council. Every year, the Budget and Audit Committee, as part of our audit function, brings a report to you on the duties and how we've executed those over the past fiscal year. Just to kind of give you a brief history on our formation, as you know, this was established, I believe, the first month that this new council was in office. We took on some audit committee roles soon thereafter, I believe, still within that first year. And so what we do is we look over significant budget amendments. We look at potential deficiencies in operation and in the way that we account for things, and we provide recommendations to the council and to the mayor's office for those. So some of the areas of concentration that we've worked on over the previous year and that this council's been a part of, we passed a fraud, waste, and abuse reporting and response policy. We had a lot of discussion and some facilitation on our budget process over the previous year, establishing a budget calendar, having goals and objective planning sessions with the council, and then these budget work sessions as well that we worked through. Instead of having a marathon session, we were able to split that up into a couple of smaller, more digestible sessions. We also, over the past year, and we continue to do so into this fiscal year, is monitoring our potential impacted revenue streams. Due to the COVID pandemic, we had the financial staff and the budget committee projected potential deficiencies in that. We were happy to report that we did not see sales tax decrease last year. We actually saw the opposite, but we did see a significant dip in our hotel motel tax that we've seen recover in recent months. We also established a quarterly financial review where Mr. Arnold can bring us a snapshot of where we're at every quarter to make sure that we're staying on expenditures and revenues. We advocated for the internal auditor position, which was hired in this previous year. And that position has been looking at not only internal controls, but also the reports that we've had from the comptroller's office and internally on waste management and our Jackson Generals. We've reviewed a significant budget amendment, as I spoke about previously, and provided recommendations on that. Two of those are our fire apparatus lease purchase agreement and the police vehicle capital outlay note. In addition to that, we participated as the selection committee for our new external auditor. We reviewed the public-private partnership for Madison Academic. In addition to that, we're responsible every year to review our audit findings and provide corrective actions for those. This year and the previous year, we were satisfied with management's proposal on those corrective actions. We've also tracked alongside the Innovation Committee in seeking the core financial software update that we just passed. And we've also established some financial health monitoring benchmarks for us, and I've laid those out. I won't belabor everybody with those, but I would recommend that you look at that and review those at your leisure. But this past year, we saw ourselves move significantly in a better direction. Many of those were in a critical spot, and we've moved those into a positive outlook for this fiscal year, and I'm hopeful that we can continue to move the finances into a better direction. That would conclude the report, but I'm happy to provide any additional details if anybody has any questions.
Any questions from council on the budget committee report?
So if I can just want to thank Councilman Taylor for his leadership. We first started this process years ago. I think it was crazy. But I think he was more so looking out for our community and looking out to make sure we was doing the right thing. So thank you for your leadership with this committee.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, any additional questions on the report? Have a motion to accept the report?
So moved.
Second? Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
All right, now we get to board appointments. Gang Prevention Curriculum Committee, this was a component that the Budget Committee recommended as a part of the funding of the gang prosecutor. And so that the committee is appointed from DA's office, Attorney General Pickens, Curtis Cozart, JPD, Councilman Dodd, Tim Gilmore from the school system, Andrea Huggins from, is a community member who also served as the point person when the curriculum was implemented the first time. So that'll be the committee that will revisit the curriculum for the gang prevention component and report back to council on what can be done and what needs to be done.
So moved.
Have a motion?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 6-1, Dodd abstaining.
All right, we get to redistricting committee. Consideration of appointment for Byron Elam, Kip Hornberger, Olivia Abernathy, Robert Curlin, and Dr. Jerry Woods.
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Public Art Commission, consideration of appointment of Lizzie Emmons and Lori Nunnery.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Community Economic Development Commission, consideration of appointment of Mal Patel.
So moved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Jackson-Madison County Historic Zoning Commission, consideration of appointment of Franny Smith to replace Gwendolyn Mary Coleman.
So moved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Community Redevelopment Agency, consideration of reappointment of Councilman Dodd.
So moved.
Have a
Second.
motion, second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 6-1, one abstaining, Dodd. Who made that
Jackson-
motion? I'm sorry.
McKelvey.
Thank you,
I
McKelvin.
seconded.
Okay, got it, thank you.
Jackson Board of Zoning Appeals, consideration of reappointment of Tara Skinner and Mike Singleton.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Mayor's Advisory Board on Domestic and Sexual Violence, consideration of reappointment of Hugh Harvey, Jane Jarvis, Jennifer McCraw, Jody Pickens, Kathy Blunt, Michelle Reddick, and Ross Pretty.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 6-1.
Anti-Poverty Task Force, consideration of appointment of Dr. Kyle Barron.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Cities Advisory Board of Carnegie Legends Museum, consideration of reappointment of Jimmy Exum, Jimmy Duke, and Randy Williams.
So moved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Health, Education, and Housing Board, consideration of reappointment of Joyce Corley and Larry Jones.
So moved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
Item 11 is a sunshine of the budget amendments less than $10,000. Council has a list of those. Item 12 is consideration of invoices over $10,000.
So moved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Council, please vote.
Motion passed 7-0.
All right, nothing coming before the council. This meeting is adjourned.